So where do you think creative energy comes from?
Man, I think creative energy is the essence of the human spirit. Like, basically, it's a combination of the mind, the body, and like the heart or the soul to just form this totally like creative spirit that I think that's like the closest humans or any type of creative species gets to like total freedom is through creativeness. I feel like it's the one place you can really be totally free. And I couldn't imagine not being creative or a musician, but things I appreciate about creativity the most are probably like just I guess how like in touch it is as far as a musical form with just like your regular life. How when you get up every day it's different, even if stuff's similar, you know. You still do everything just a little bit different every day. Like you can't help but be like a creative improviser in life, right? Even if you tried not to, it'd be like hard to not be a totally like creative improviser. So I like the part of music that ties in just the same with that. If you're doing improvising creative types of music, that it's like, you know, if you take that approach, you could, you know, play the same song every day, but, you know, maybe you're feeling differently, so have different dynamics, different bowings, different fingerings, different articulations, you know, different variations. But I think that's like the best thing in life is just creativity and how it like responds to the moments that you're in so well. Like, you know, on gigs when you're trying to relate to people, you never know like how the people in the audience are going to be, if they're going to be sad or happy or laughing or crying. So lots of times when you're playing, you know, if you're prepared with like a creative improvising mindset, then it's a way to really get in touch with your listeners and like get in touch with you know, deeper emotional qualities in yourself. And but yeah, really, you know, just about everything, you know, is some type of creativity in life. And
Good answer.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you're working with creative energy? How does it make you feel?
Well, true creative energy, like to me, like whenever I happen to lock into that true creative energy is when you're just kind of like totally at one, like your mind, your fingers, your physicalness, your body, and your like heart or soul is just like totally linked up. And I find you're not really like thinking about music at all. Usually for me, when I find that creative energy that's just right, it's usually thinking about like the way someone's feeling in the audience, or like some type of like non-musical concept. Like I play in art galleries a lot, so like, you know, approaching the song from you know, like a painting, or I find a lot of creative spirit comes from playing music from non-musical things. And usually if I can get in them, I can get out of the music. And then when I'm out of the music, that's when the really like creative forces just take over. When you're not thinking about notes or rhythms or phrasing or space or shape or development or any type of musical concepts, is when really everything starts to just happen, when you're just kind of going with it. And but I find you do have to, for me it helps if I have like some type of deeper meaning under like what's going on. So whether it comes from a song title or how I was feeling that day or how people in the audience were feeling, that's when I find I'm in the most creative spirit. And usually like after, like, if I have a fun time getting in the creative spirit, like, I never remember anything that happens. And like, so lots of times if like you can remember something you played, probably isn't a good thing in some ways. But that's one thing I noticed from the occasions when I do really get in that creative, really good feeling energy there. You're kind of just in it so much that you don't really like, man, remember a lot about it when it's done. But that's really the best feeling to go, musically. And it's like anything, you gotta, develop. You have to have your skills developed a certain amount. I feel like before you can get there, not always, because like anybody can get in this creative spirit with what you have. But I find the more you develop your skills, the kind of further down you can dig to really get on that level of like feeling free. Because you gotta have physical freedom. Your mind has to be free, so you got to work through some stuff. But yeah, it's like, I think it's just a blessing for like people that can make a livelihood and a profession out of being creative. Because like you get up every day, you have no idea what's gonna happen. When I teach my lessons, like we just kind of get into whatever we get in that day, and usually it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm really happy I grew up around people that pushed me in a like improvising creative direction, and it's really fulfilling, like on an emotional level, on a mental level, and just really on a freedom level. Like, I'd have to say the only kind of music I've ever played that wasn't like creatively fulfilling would be like music that is mainly played in a like notated manner. It's like more like classical music. Yeah, but as long as I just enjoy playing any type of music that gives me creative freedom, and mainly because like I think it's like the best source of like emotional outbursts as a person. Because like whatever you're feeling that day or that week or that month, you can just totally let out in your playing, and it's like so much fulfilling than like complaining to someone, or like it's just, I think, the best way to have an emotional vacuum that just kind of like you can put your stuff into. But yeah.
What do you think are the connections? What are your thoughts on connections between creativity and dreaming?
Man, I don't know, that's tricky, because I guess dreams, I have two types of dreams. Like, dreams I can control and dreams I can't. And I guess it's the same as improvising. Like, sometimes you can control it, but it's better when you don't. But, I don't know, I have this weird thing that happened to me lots of times where, like, it's usually, like, before I'm asleep, where I'm still having, like, partly control over my dreams. But like I'll hear this like killing band, or just this totally like swinging, burning band, and they'll be playing this super like funky melody, and I'll be like, no way. So I'll like try and change it. I'll be like, no, it's not gonna go there, it's gonna go here. And it like doesn't. And it's like, I don't know, I guess that'd be like the creative force. Like, just but I always think that's really interesting, because I'll dream and like hearing some really cool melodies, and it's like, even if I want to stop it, like it's just going the way it's going. But I never really thought about that creative as far as to dreaming. I love dreaming, man. I think it's so cool. Yeah, I guess like if I was gonna take a good creative solo, man, like that'd be a cool concept, like dreams, like just kind of going everywhere, but it's all related. And yeah, I don't know, I never really thought about that. Shoot, because usually, even if I think of like cool music stuff in my dream, by the time I actually get out of bed, like I can't remember it very well. But yeah, I guess they're kind of similar, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know much about like the dreaming concepts, so I don't know like if you have total control over it or not.
Let me see if I can get this light to turn back on.
Yeah, that's interesting. What have other people said about that?
Well, like, I think it's a subject that hasn't been explored too much, like conceptually, academically, and so I think most folks haven't thought too much about it. But some people are like, like Tim O'Brien was like, well, there's, or some people were like, well, stuff's happening in a dream without any conscious effort, so that must be like kind of like automatic creativity, like stuff's being created in a dream, but it doesn't necessarily have, like, you're not doing it, like
Right.
you're not making it happen or whatever. So, but it's it's something that I think there's a connection there, but I don't think anybody, I think it's just something kind of just on the cutting edge of consciousness, like conceptually, and I don't know that anybody's, I don't know. So most people are like, well, let me think about that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as far as that, like, what would a toddler dream that didn't know anything of life, right? Like, would it dream about human stuff? Or, like, what would it dream about? Like, I guess you can only really, like, have as much creative control over stuff that you kind of know, right? Like, so that's why I think it is important, if you want to be, like, a really good creative musician, to get control of all